motivational speaker, but what I like about him is he has a very cool story. Eric Thomas was a high school dropout. He was homeless for 2 or 3 years. He went back to school, got his GED, his bachelor's degree, master's degree. He just got his PhD from Michigan State, and he does a lot of lecturing, teaching, and writing. He goes to all the, so the reason I like it, because I'm actually a former athlete myself, and he goes and talks to athletes. So he goes to NFL teams, NBA teams. So I would very much recommend looking up, so this is the first thing I want you to write down, Eric Thomas, right? Eric Thomas. He is literally, other than my dad, he has been the biggest male influence in my life, and I've never met him. I almost met him a few weeks ago. He was doing a presentation down in San Diego, but I have a pregnant wife, which is one reason why my phone will be on, so if I get a phone call, I might need to take it, because my wife's due literally any day right now. So just, I'm not trying to be rude, but my phone's going to be on, so hopefully I don't get a text message. But I almost got to meet him, but we thought my wife was going like really early into labor, so I had to cancel my trip to go see him, which was really a bummer. But one of the things that he said the other day, and I started doing it, was one of his concepts, and he's got a lot of really good ones, is just if you really want to be successful, you have to make a decision. That was one of his things. I was like, huh. So he said, you know, if you don't initially make a decision, you're never going to see where you want to go because you don't kind of have that initial direction. So what I did, and I showed my class and they really liked it, I went online, because I have a website now, so from last year to this year I have a website. I didn't have one when I met you all last year, so this year you'll be able to see this presentation online in about 6 or so months once it gets edited. I went on and I wrote up, and I have my class do and write down what are a couple decisions that you want for your life to make you a better person, okay? So for mine, just before we have you write, just to kind of put you into my mindset, I have a family now. I got a young son, 20 months old, soon to have a daughter sometime soon. So you know, my wife stays at home. So for me, I'm the one that makes all the money in the family. So my first decision was I'm going back to school now in September because the more education I get, I actually get paid a little bit more. But also the more education I get, the better counselor I am, because that's what I do at Bakersfield. I'm one of the general counselors. So the more that happens, the better chance I have of staying, the better chance I have of making a change in people's lives. It makes me a better counselor, which kind of helps support my family. So that was my first decision. Another one was, the more research I do on successful people, they read a lot. Like all the time. Mark Cuban, you guys know who Mark Cuban is? The owner of the Mavericks? Guy reads like 2 or 3 hours a day. So he said he never knows when he's going to read something that will change his life. So that my decision is now I'm trying to get 1 book a month that I'm going to read. So far, I'm doing a pretty good job. Or listen on CD, because I commute an hour, 2 hours every day. So I have them on CD. I'm kind of cheating a little bit. The other one is I want to have the ability, which I won't do, but because of my hard work, I wrote down on my website, so you guys can all see it, that you know I'm not lying, I want to have the ability to retire when I'm 57. Pull that number out. I'm not going to, but I want to have that opportunity if I want to. My kids will be older then, so if they're hopefully a pro athlete, right? You know, like some of you all hopefully will be too, right? If my kid's a pro athlete, I want to be able to retire so I can follow him around. Another one was, I put down, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 45. A lot of things that I have, and that's what my decisions are. And then there's a lot of things I'm going to do in there. So I have a few decisions. So what I want you to do really quickly is write down just 3 decisions that you want to make. 2 or 3. What are 2 or 3 decisions right now that you want to make? Because for me in my class, when we did this, it was like, whoa, you know, we could actually see it. It was something that's tangible, meaning you can, you know, I don't expect you to go post it on Twitter or Facebook or put it on your website. I did that to hold me accountable. So I told my class, I said, you know, check up on me in a few years. See if I'm anywhere closer to my degree. See where I'm at with my investments that we talked about, those types of things. So make 2 decisions or 3 decisions really quickly. What do you decide to do? And I'm not going to read it, but I want to see that you're writing because you're going to keep this. I just write down 2 or 3 decisions. So what do you decide? And this is going to change as you get a little bit older. Eric Thomas has changed. But it's really interesting hearing his decisions now because he's 42 or 3-ish. So his decisions now are different. But it's as some are finishing up writing, and I would, to be honest, if I could, I would spend the whole 45 minutes talking about this, but I really want to get to, so keep writing. Just 2 things that you decide that you want to do. Does anyone want to share? If you don't mind, you don't have to, but does anyone want to share? This is what my decision is. You know, I put mine out on the website, online, so everybody can see it and hold me accountable. I think accountability is huge. Every class that I teach at Bakersfield, at the end of the semester, whether I'm getting officially evaluated or not, I have my students evaluate me. Every single semester. I've done it for 4 years since I've been teaching in college. Because I want to see what I've been doing right or wrong to keep me accountable. I don't have to do it for anybody else but myself. So I have a stack of about 500 evaluations that I read through to see what they like so I can build off of it, and what they don't like so I can change it. So I like accountability. Does anybody want to share what they wrote down for what their decisions are? Go ahead. Tell me 1 or 2.
Well, one of them is I want you to go traveling more.
Good, good. I like that. Anybody put in there that they want to play sports in college? Okay, thank you. I was hoping a few would, right? Anyone in there say that they just want to go to college? Couple? All right. Now what I want you to do is draw a line on your decision, underneath it, and underneath that I want you to write down how many different social media things you have. Facebook, Twitter, no more MySpace, right? But I heard it's coming back. I was so stoked. I heard MySpace is coming back. Those that don't know, you're all like, you know, super young. MySpace was the thing back in the day. I mean, I was so bummed when MySpace went away. That was like, so, yeah, it's old, right? Okay, I'm old, but I'm older than you all. So write down how many different social medias you have. Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. Isn't there like a Flickr now? Or I don't know, there's all kinds. Write them all down. This shouldn't take you that long. If this takes you a long time, we really got issues. I want you to see both. Okay? I really want you to see your decisions with your social media on the same page. That's why we're doing this. The reason for this is, I want to know if anybody in here, and maybe our teachers or our advisor or career advisor could say, statistically, how many hours do high school students, teenagers, all the way up to adults spend on social media a day? Way more than that. Yeah. 4 to 9 is usually what the studies have shown. Washington Post said about 4. The New York Times, I read, because I researched this last night. CNN said 9. New York said 2 to 3. Here's the reason I want to write that down. Every single hour that you are on your social media, especially, and I want to see who wants to actually play sports in college here. Because I know this is our athlete presentation, but who's going to play in the next few years? Okay, who wants to be super successful, CEO, you know, principal, counselor, teacher? Who has like really big aspirations for their career? Most, right? Okay. Well, I just want us to start thinking about this, because this is what I did a few years ago. I kind of got this in my mindset, is every hour or so that somebody, one of y'all are on social media, there is somebody like myself, like others, that don't have that, well, I have it now, where that hour could be used differently to make you better. Because unless you're marketing or you're pushing a product, you're like Eric Thomas and you're sending out tweets and, you know, get followers and you're selling books, Twitter, MySpace, Facebook, not MySpace, Facebook and Snapchat, those things are fun, but what are they really doing for you right now? Nothing, right? And I mentioned this to someone at one point, and they said, well, Jonathan, what's wrong with having social media, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What's wrong with Twittering and Facebooking and tweeting, or I don't know what all that cool stuff is called, right? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. But I would switch it and say, if you want to be successful, what people think of, what's right with it. Not what's wrong with it, what's right with it. So do it in moderation, because you think, you know, if you want to be successful, this is what I like. A few years ago I had a really bad situation happen to me, and I'm going to cover that when I go over my principles. I had a super bad situation happen to me, and I was kind of depressed for a day or two, and after I was talking to my wife, I finally figured out, I said, you know what, for every hour that I have a poor me thought, for every hour that I'm on my Facebook or my Twitter, or every hour that I'm watching YouTube, somebody else that wants to be successful is not doing that. They're in the gym, they're hitting the books, they're doing something that I'm not doing, so I don't ever want to get in that situation. I have a Twitter now. I have 3 followers. I've only had it for like 4 days, so I don't really know. I've been trying to put on a freaking headline picture, but every time I do it, it gets too big. Like, I don't know how to do that. Like, anyway, yeah. So anyway, my Twitter's not working out too well, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You know, I've had it for. I'm getting there. But think about that, and I really, really want you to think. I'm not saying go and deactivate your Twitter or deactivate your Facebook or your Snapchat, but every single hour, especially you athletes, you should look at the statistics of people that make it into the professional sports. 1%. 1%. I played at a really good community college system, the Central Valley system. We have Porterville, Saracoso, well actually no, not Saracoso, Porterville, COS, Merced, Modesto. I went on and I played at an NAI school. We had, I think there was 20 or 30 people that I played with that got drafted in baseball. One is still playing. And that guy was a beast, 6'5" beast. One is still playing. I'm not that old, so I mean there's still a few that had opportunities. Only one. Okay, so I want to think about that. If you really want to be successful, you got to see and put your priorities in line. So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about a principle of mine that has changed my life. So I'm going to give you things that I do. I don't ever talk about stuff in my class, in my presentations, because I do a lot of presentations, I teach a lot of different classes. I never talk about things that I don't actually do in my life. So this is me, all right? I'm going to give you a principle. So a principle is something that changes you, something that's ingrained, something that is meaningful to you, something that changes you, right? So I'm going to give you a principle, and I'm going to give you 6 practices that you can do to help that principle. And I promise you, there's no doubt in my mind, I don't care what your background is, if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're whatever color, whatever gender, I don't care what it is, if you follow this principle and you do these practices, you will be successful. So this is a principle that I heard a few years ago, and one day I'm going to write a book, and this is going to be the title of it. You have to do what others won't if you want to have what others don't. So think about that for a minute. You have to do what others won't if you want to have what others don't. What does that mean, do you think? What do you think it means if anyone wants to just help me out? Go ahead.
Whereas others would go like watch TV or just like go on YouTube or something, do stuff like read a book, exercise, stuff like that. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Make it more simple. Think about this. What sports do you want to play? Football. Okay, so we got a football player. What you want to do, sit down and do this. I've actually done this. What you are trying to do right now. So right now, I'm a counselor. That's what I'm going to do forever as long as my institution will have me. When I was playing baseball player, right? So what are you doing right now? What do you want to do? Write down what are you doing differently that other people are not doing to be successful. You don't have to write it down now, but eventually do this. Think about that. Put yourself, so we got a football player. Who else raised your hand that wants to play a sport? Someone else? What sport are you? Baseball. Oh, you're football. You're thinking flat bill is usually a baseball player. It's interesting. Football as well?
No, I play baseball.
Okay. So think about it. What are you doing right now that someone in your same situation is not doing? So we don't want to have people that want to play sports. That's great. Who's going to college next year? Okay? So got quite a few people. Think about it. What are you doing that other people aren't doing? And if you can't write down a few different things, okay, so if my man over here said, I'm going to hit the gym, everyone's doing that. I'm hitting the sleds, everyone's doing that. I'm going to go to school, everybody's doing that. You have to write down things that other people aren't doing. That's what successful people do. I've done a lot of different research on things. Eric Thomas, back to him, I love listening to him speak because he talks about all these different things that he does. This guy gets paid $20,000 an hour to speak usually. $20,000 an hour. And I just recently found out, and it makes perfect sense to me, as he's doing those speeches, he'll visit local high schools, local K-8 schools, and he'll speak for free. For 2 reasons. One, he really feels that by giving back, you get more rewards, and I love that. I think that's amazing. But the other thing that he says is, I need practice. And this guy's one of the best speakers. $20,000 an hour, I'd take that, right? I don't get paid that much. He's one of the best speakers in the country right now, and he'll say, I need practice. I want to practice to get better. How else can I do that except practicing speaking? That's what he does. He practices speaking. So I want you to think about that. This is something that literally changed my life. I saw this quote about 6 years ago, and I started thinking, oh, what else? At that point, I was in graduate school. So I went home, and I was like, okay, what is everybody else doing in graduate school? Master's degree in counseling. I can't say that because we're all doing that, right? My whole program, master's in counseling. 600 hours of internship. Can't say that. We're all doing that. Trying to get good grades. Can't say that. We're all doing that. We're supposed to subscribe to a magazine. Can't say that. Those are things that everybody does. What are the other things that set you apart that's going to push you to success? The books that you're reading, the extra time in the gym, right? So if practice is from 3 to 6, he can't say that he's practicing from 3 to 6 to make him better. that doesn't count. That's normal. That's what it is. It's the showing up early. It's the staying late. It's talking to your coaches more. Think about that. You have to do what others won't to have what others don't. My story in a real quick nutshell, when I was going through grad school, I mean, I was literally working myself to death. In fact, this is the first time in years that I've only had one job, and I technically have two because I teach extra hours at Bakersfield. But this is literally the first time I've ever had one job, because looking at the counseling field, although you're way away from it if you're going to go into it, it's a super, super competitive field. When I interviewed for my positions, from what I've been told from people, there was over 100 different applicants at every single different thing when I applied. High school, kindergarten, 8th grade, and this position as well. 100 people. They only hired 6. 6 out of 100 is not a very good statistic. I wanted to make sure that that didn't happen to me, that I was one of those other 94 that didn't get that position. Okay? This is the principle that I want us to think about. What are you doing right now in your situation that other people in the same situation are not doing? Okay? So let's go into an actual practice, not principle, practice. My control find messed it up a little bit. All right, so number 1, know yourself. You got to check your ego at the door. What does this mean? And this is perfect for athletes. What are you good at? What is your thing? What is your niche? You have to understand who you are and what you excel at. You know, I don't watch boxing, but Floyd Mayweather, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard of Floyd Mayweather. And I watched one of his fights, I think one of the second to last ones with that Pacquiao guy, because that was supposed to be like the best fight ever. And I used to watch fights back with like Mike Tyson and everything, and so I'm a little older than most of you. And I remember watching it, and he's like moving away all the time. He's hitting, he's moving, he's hitting. So I start researching him. Well, with all the points you get in boxing and those types of things, and some of y'all could probably explain that better than me, his strength isn't the Mike Tyson go 10 seconds and knock you out. That's not how he fights. He knows himself, right? He moves. I mean, that guy's quick. I mean, Pacquiao's throwing all kinds of stuff, and he's just sitting there. I don't know how he moves that quick, right? He knows who he is. It ticks a lot of those old-time people off that watch boxing. So, anyone in here watch boxing? Are they a boxing fan at all? Okay, does anyone have like grandfather or father that watch boxing? Did he ever mention anything like this about Mayweather by chance? Right? Old-time guys can't stand it. Because you go watch Mike Tyson, it was literally 20-second fights. That was like MMA back then. So, but the thing is, what I respect and I love about Floyd Mayweather is he knows himself. He's not going to go try to knock you out because he knows himself, right? And that means you have to check that ego at the door. So think about it. You know, we got a football guy here. I'm older than most of you. If I wanted to go and try to what position do you play?
Running back.
Running back. Okay, that's a perfect example. Thank you for saying that. So if I'm on the opposite end right now, we're going to do a drill. He's younger, probably faster, probably stronger. I don't work out like I used to. So he's probably going to run me over if I'm going to try to tackle him. I have enough confidence to know, okay, I'm going to take him down. But I'm not going to go heads up with him because he's stronger, he's younger, he's faster. I'm going to go for his ankles. I'm going to try to like hold on, like bite him on the, I'm going to do whatever I can to take him down. I'm confident that I'll find a way to get him down, but I'm not going to go heads up with him because he's probably going to run me over. Right? I have to check my ego at the door. I have to know what my strengths are in order to really excel. So that's what I want you all to think about as one of our first practices, not principles. I did the little control find thing, and apparently it did principles for all of them. A practice is you have to understand who you truly are. I have a family member, and she is just an absolute genius. She reads something one time and she remembers it, and it pisses me off because I try so hard at school. I mean, the one thing I'm nervous about going back to school is I'm like, oh, studying. I don't like studying. Thank God for baseball. I never would have got a bachelor's degree. I had to, keep my grades up and play the sport. But for her, she can read 1, 2, 3 things and remember all of it. That's not me. I can't do it. I have to study a little bit harder. I have to show up early. I ask a lot of questions. I can't just remember things like other people can. Those are the types of people that I wish I was like, but that's not me. You have to understand who you are. If you're a big, strong hitter in sports, be a big, strong hitter, right? Don't try to be laying down your drag punts. If you're a shorter, smaller running back, I can't tell you're sitting down, don't try to go heads up like, all stock, which you probably don't know who that is because you're all young. Know who you are and what your strengths are. Same thing in school. Kind of back to that studying tip, are you one of those that's really good at school? Or is it something that you struggle with? I struggled in school. I'm not ashamed of it. I struggled. It's a really funny story. I have an autistic brother. I love him to death, and we're at my graduation. And if you graduate magna cum laude or summa cum laude, they will say that behind your name. Well, what that means is you have like a 3.6, a 3.7, you know, you have a really good GPA. So as I'm graduating, this was the first time I knew what magna cum laude meant. I'm like, why? What is that? I knew it had to mean something. So I think I looked on my phone and have to have a good GPA. I'm like, oh, there you go. So as you're going across, my mom, she tells me at the end, she goes, yeah, your brother leaned over and said, there's a lot of people from the family of magna cum laude at this graduation. And then she goes, and she laughs, she goes, no, it's because, you know, they have a good grade. And he goes, well, why didn't brother get that behind his name? Yeah, if anyone ever has a special needs family member or friend, they humble you. But it's true. I mean, I didn't have that behind my name. I am not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the most analytical. I'm not the most techie. Where's our techie girl over there? What was your name again, hon? To help me out? Regine? Okay. So first thing I said, when I got here, I said, who's the techie? Funny, she thought I asked if she was tacky. She looked like she wanted to hit me at first. She goes, I'm tacky, right? She's like, why are you asking me if I'm tacky? I meant a techie, you know? So I said, well, who's techie? She said, well, I can set this up. I said, would you mind doing it? I can't do that. You notice I have some people helping me. I don't do that stuff. I know, right? I know myself. I'm not the best with technology. So if you go to my website and you look at it, I don't even know how to log into my website. I don't know how to do it. Because I'm so anti-techie, I have somebody that's helping me out that I pay him a little bit every time he uploads things and cuts videos, and he does it for me. It's a former student of mine. I can probably figure it out. It would take me so much time, so much effort. I would be so mad and I would do a crappy job. Why would I spend that time when I can go and ask somebody else for help? I know myself. I'm terrible at that. So I'm paying David to help me out. He's the one that's going to upload this video once it gets edited. He's the one that uploads all my blogs. He's the one that uploads all my interviews. That's just who I am. I wish it wasn't, but I had to check my ego. Sorry, the clicker doesn't work too well. I had to check my ego and know this is my strength. One of the things I failed at in sports was I had a pretty good freshman year when I was in community college, but you know, the ones that got the big time scholarships and I was an outfielder and I'm not a very big guy, so I had to try to get a little more power behind me. But my strength was going the opposite way. Well, my sophomore year, if you look at my stats, I did really well my freshman year. My sophomore year, they slumped a little bit. I had a few more power numbers, but I didn't have where I wanted to because I tried to change my game. I tried to turn on balls. I tried to hit more home runs. I tried to be that power guy, and that really wasn't who I was. So I set myself up for failure my sophomore year. I didn't get the big-time scholarships like I should have, and I didn't go where I really wanted to go. And honestly, when I look back on it, although I had a lot of injuries, a lot of it could have been placed on myself because I was trying to do something that I was not the best at. I was trying to change who I was. Okay, so sports, academics, whatever it is, you have to check your ego. The next thing is our practice number 2 is, do you like things when you're paying or when you're getting paid? And what I mean is, what really motivates you? So, do you like the process when you're practicing, or do you just like the game? Do you like when you're paying to do something, or do you only like when you're getting paid? I can tell you, I love going and talking to you all. I'm paying to be here. And I mean that in all honesty. I'm paying to be here. They're not paying me. I'm not getting paid for this. I had to take extra time off of work. I live 2 hours from here, so that's a little bit of gas. I'm going to have to eat after this. I'm not getting paid for that. I'm paying to be here. I'm paying someone to upload this video. I'm paying someone to help my website. I'm paying for this. Like, this is what I'm paying for. But I enjoy it. It's something that I like. I think that it helps. I like trying to give some of the things that I've learned over my years, and if it can help you at a younger age than me, that's amazing. A lot of the times, though, people would rather get paid. They would rather like the outcome, not the process. I'm sure if I asked almost all of our athletes, the majority would say they like the game. They're not a fan of practice. Is it kind of true? Don't lie to me right now, right? Yeah, thank you for shaking your head. Don't lie. Right? Most do. Most like the game. They don't. Come on, I played sports until I was 22. I loved the game. I wasn't a fan of the practice very much. I really didn't. The game was where it was. That's when you got your stats. That's when you impressed the girls or the guys. I mean, that's when everything happened, right? I hate that term, gamer. You're a gamer. You're the one that turns it on in game time, right? There's not very many of those. There's only so many Allen Iversons in the world that are gamers. When you do the research, and I very much want you to, and if I was able to get to the internet, but I wasn't able to plug that in. My hotspot didn't work. People think, Michael Jordan and Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds, they were just gamers. They weren't. The time that they put in was unbelievable. That's a lot when it comes to successful people at work, CEOs, athletes. Are they paying or are they getting paid? Can you find the same type of excitement while you're paying for it, while you're practicing, while you're putting in the effort, or while you're getting paid, which is the game time when you have to show up? Paying or paid? How can you really push yourself and find that same kind of satisfaction? Like investing, people always say, you would rather spend money than save money. I mean, all of y'all in here would rather save money than spend money than save money, right? It's kind of the same concept. If you really want to be financially successful, you have to enjoy saving like you do spending. I spend a whole day talking about financial planning in my class, and that's one of the things that I literally beat into my students' brain is if you want to be financially stable, you have to enjoy saving like you do spending. It's just like that. The practice is where everything is. How many hours is your game? 3 hours a week if you play baseball, 2 or 3 if you play football. I mean, 2 or 3 hours a week. How many hours do you practice? 15, 20, 6, 7, 8, right? You practice way more than you play. You have to do homework way more than you study for that test. Your test only takes an hour, the studying should take like 12. A lot of times now, our generation, what happens, and I'm still in your generation, believe it or not, our generation likes that instant gratification or that result. We like results. We like the money, we hear about Facebook, we want to do that. We hear about the athletes, we want to get there. We focus so much on the end goal, we don't focus on the process to get there. The process is what makes you successful. The paying. You have to pay for that process, right? You're paying in practice, whether it's with money, sweat, whatever it is, you're paying in that initial process. That's what makes people successful. And until you get that concept, when I'm thinking about it, I can't wait to go and get that degree. I can't wait to have that doctorate degree hung over my head. But I'm trying to get myself to the mindset, and I'm getting there slowly but surely. That process is going to make me more intelligent than the end goal. Getting a degree itself, saying that you have a degree doesn't make you intelligent or doesn't make you learn things. It's the process to get you to that degree. Right? So when I'm going back to school, having that title is cool, but it's that process that gets me there. It's that process that's going to change me. So think about it. Can you enjoy the process or the outcome? Or can you enjoy the process as much as the outcome? Can you enjoy paying for something, or do you only enjoy getting paid for something? That's number 2. Number 3 is, don't wait for the perfect moment to happen. You have to create the perfect moment. I was talking to someone the other day. I don't know if this will make it cut, but I want to be as anonymous as possible. And I was talking to this person about an opportunity that they had. And they said, I'm not ready for it. What are you talking about? You're not ready for it. I'm not ready to do this. I think, well, okay, I know something that I can kind of experience. This person was much older than me, has been in work field a lot longer than me. I was able to do this, but they said they weren't ready for it. And I'm like, what? Well, I'm waiting until I can get there. So that's not how successful people think. Successful people don't wait until things happen. They don't wait for that opportunity. They have to go create that opportunity. Because if you're going to wait for that school to come and give you a scholarship, it's not going to happen. You look at the majority of people that get scholarships, they post things on YouTube, their parents are out recruiting for them. I mean, I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I haven't heard of anybody from the Bakersfield area that's going to get the next first round draft pick of the NBA or anything like that, right? I haven't heard of any of that stuff. So if something happened with the camera, that's okay. Is that?
Your card is almost full.
No, that's all right. That's okay. That's cool. I don't care. That's all right. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have like an extra. Yeah, that's fine. Just let it go. We're good. This is more important than that. That's just to kind of help me see what I like, and I usually hate watching myself speak, so I'm kind of glad that it's going to go out, to be honest. But what happens is people wait for something to happen. They wait for the next app, they wait for the next thing, but really, you got to go out and create that to happen. When I was going through my program, one of the things that changed my life was when I was sitting in class, I was in the front row, and this girl in the back, I remember she was wearing a purple outfit. She raised her hand and she said, when I'm going to graduate this semester, how do I make sure that I know that I get a job over everybody in the class? Because we're all going to have a degree. We're all going to have our internship hours. Kind of going back to the very first principle that we had, which was do what others won't. It's like, it's kind of true, right? I don't want to wait for that job to come to me. I'm going to go out. So I went to every single high school in Porterville, where I live. I don't live in Bakersfield. I went to every single elementary school. I volunteered to give presentations, like what we're doing right now. I volunteered to do extra hours for a couple different reasons. Actually, 2 reasons, the majority. One, the more that I do, you can put on your resume, right? And I'm going to hire Paula over, what was your name? Miss Hazley, sorry. Miss Snyder, Miss Hazley. I'm going to hire her possibly if she has a huge old resume, and if her resume is just, they have the same amount of years, but she's done more outside, right? A lot of the times that's what you look for when you're hiring people. So I did it for that. I wanted to pump up my resume, but the other thing is, people usually hire who they know. The majority of people that get hired are people that know you. How are you going to have people that know you if you're waiting for them to come to you? It's not going to happen. You have to go to them. So now, in your guys' mind, if you want to get that scholarship in football, go to them. Send an email, create a YouTube video, put it online, email it to coaches, have your parents help you. The people that get the scholarships, the people that get that, they're not the ones that are always the best. Sometimes they have better connections, or they make those connections for themselves. You cannot wait for the perfect opportunity to happen for you, because it might not happen. If she's waiting for the perfect opportunity to happen, and if she's waiting for it to come to her, but if he ends up going for it, right? If they end up going for it, he's going to be more successful than her. This is what's going to happen. Because one of the things I love about sports are statistics, right? Statistics are everything. So I don't know how much you follow statistics in high school, but in college it's all about stats, right? We have, our pitchers had all these different charts and things, and they knew that if he couldn't hit an inside fastball, I guarantee you he's getting thrown inside fastballs all day, right? Stats are everything. Because if I told you that if you have a 90% chance of getting, of the world blowing up and you not making it going out that door, but if you only have a 5% chance of surviving going out of this door, you're all going out of that door because of statistics. That's just what it is. Stats are everything. So when it comes to that perfect moment, you don't know if that perfect moment's ever going to happen. Statistically, those people that get the scholarships, statistically the people that get hired, the statistical outcomes of the successful people are the ones that go out and find that angle. They make things happen for themselves. So if you can get into that mindset, and kind of back to this person that I was blown away that the comment was, "It's not my time. I will know when it's ready." Sometimes, but I wasn't ready to have, I'm still not ready for a kid. I have 2, or 1.5. I guess she's coming one of these days. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that at all. It's not the perfect time for me. But sometimes you have to go out and create that perfect time. The next principle, and this is important, so whether you are an athlete now or